Welcome to Moss Marketing Mondays, aka the M3 Podcast. Brought to you by Moss Marketing Group, bringing you everything marketing every Monday. Stay tuned for marketing tips and tricks you can use today. The M3 Podcast, marketing knowledge to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. Today we're doing something a little different. So we've had a lot of feedback from a lot of people on business owners being on the podcast, things like that, and business owners of Kansas City. And some of our feedback that we've gotten is having a more open discussion of marketing trends, things that are happening in the marketing space, and elaborating a little bit more once a month and going deeper diving into those different aspects of marketing and getting more knowledge on those. So today, myself, Dre, Ricky, Logan, all part of Moss Marketing Group, we're going to talk about market trends in 2022. What are we seeing in the market today? We work on this stuff all day, every day. So there's a lot of people that aren't involved with that stuff every day. What are we seeing in the market that we can relay to business owners to help them take that next step in their business and increase growth and things like that?
So are we going to take like a broad scope of the market, or do we want to narrow down to like one specific portion?
I think we should narrow it down. Once a month, we'll have one topic that we go really deep on. And I think we should start it off with video. I mean, I feel like that's our hub of what we have built our marketing company around, is bringing video to everybody. That it's been something that small business owners have never had the ability to have. They haven't got to have high-level production video that we're bringing to the space. So I think that's something that brings a huge plus to the market that we're doing, and I think we should dive in on that.
I like it.
I do too.
Yeah?
Video is.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
I mean, just from my perspective, I know whenever I'm looking at stuff online, video is so much more engaging. A lot of people hate reading. They just, like, if they see a big text, they're not going to read it. You put an engaging video in front of them, they'll watch it for hours.
Yeah.
The other cool thing I like about video on like a learning aspect, kind of like what you were talking about, how you don't want to read something. I'm way more likely to listen to a 20-minute video than read like even a 2-page article.
Yeah.
Just because you can play it in the background, and it's just, for me, it's more engaging. It is more engaging.
Human nature has shifted to simplicity. And like you said, it can be something that's going on in the background. And the numbers are astronomically climbing for video viewers week over week, month over month, year over year. I mean, it's climbing faster than anything else we're seeing in the marketing space across every business model, not just one. And that's what I think is so enticing about video, is how fast it's growing, that it is surpassing everything on growth. And if you don't have that video aspect, I feel like when it used to be, hey, you're a year behind, you're 5 years behind, that's gapping out a lot quicker.
Well, I feel like Vine, if anyone knows what Vine was, when Vine came out, I feel like that's when everything kind of started changing. That came out to a younger demographic, and that was like your Facebook or your Instagram. Vine got deleted, and then TikTok kind of took its place. But you had Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all these platforms kind of mimicking what it did, just not very well.
Yep.
And then a lot of the older crowd didn't really want to adapt to it.
I think they weren't adapting because they weren't pulling platform. So the older demographic, I don't think, that lives on Facebook, Instagram is growing in age. I don't think those people were going to go download Vine. I think TikTok is the one that has stepped in now to start that push of video. And we've seen that Instagram Reels, huge plus on Instagram Reels now. The Facebook owning Instagram, they adopted that business model of what TikTok was doing. Because realistically, if you look at a Reel, I mean, the whole format is identical.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
They use a different font, and instead of the things being on the bottom, they're like on the side. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely nothing different.
TikTok just came in and had such a strong effect on the younger generation that the older demographics are now being forced to get on it. So I think I saw something earlier, like in 2020, like 65% of TikTok users were between 10 and 29. That's shifted to just under 45% now. So that shows that the age of TikTok users, the average is getting higher.
If I was new and I went and jumped on TikTok, if I've been on Facebook and Instagram, now all of a sudden it doesn't look foreign.
Yep.
It's something that you can get straight onto and you understand the formatting of it. And I think that's a lot of people's hang up on jumping platforms is change.
Yeah.
People don't like change.
One of the other things that Dre mentioned with Vine, I feel like not only did that get the consumers a lot more used to seeing videos, and especially short form, obviously, but it was a platform that you could create the content in the platform. You didn't have to have a video editor. You didn't have to have a camera. You just use your phone. And now there's so many more people creating content that there's just way more content out there to be consumed in the first place, whether it's just some random person or a business.
I think that changed everyone's view of video. Because used to, if you had a video out there, good job, you got something out there. Now it has to be engaging.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know the attention span went from almost like a full second down to like less than half a second to capture an individual's attention. And if you don't capture it in those first few moments, then they just move right past. So that's what I know we've all been caught in, the issue of you get onto Reels. Next thing you know, 45 minutes later, you're still watching Reels, and you're going,
And
well,
that's
It's 2 a.m.
yeah.
Yep.
And that comes down to what the shift we've seen with landscape and portrait video.
Mm-hmm.
That we speak with marketing companies that don't even understand the difference of it yet. Like, why do you guys have two people filming all the time? Because we have to have landscape, we have to have portrait. Adapt. It's like 80-something% of all video being viewed across all social platforms is now in portrait. And that number is going to continue to climb. But it's shorter video. Vine was the lead into that short video that people weren't used to. They were used to, we go talk to older business owners, they're like, we want a 3 to 5 minute video. We don't make 3 to 5 minute videos. You know how hard it is to capture someone's attention for 3 to 5 minutes? You might as well try to make a documentary on Netflix instead.
Yeah.
Like, that is next to impossible.
Back to the point that Dre made about attention spans, I saw another thing on the same website that I was on that said that the videos with the highest click-through rates are the ones that deliver their key message within the first 3 seconds of the video.
Yep.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of video creation, and they say you always plug in what your video is going to talk about, like the main aspect of it in the first 3, depending on how long the video is. So 3 to 5 seconds or first like 2 to 3 minutes. And then the rest of the video carry ons with what all leading up to that finale. So it gives someone something to look forward to throughout that video to keep them engaged.
I think we were taught all this stuff in maybe 3rd grade English about how to write a paper. I feel like it correlates exactly into how video works, of formatting it all out correctly to catch somebody. That somebody writes a book, if they don't write it properly, somebody's not going to read the whole book.
Yeah. You have to have the catchy intro
Yep.
that leads into the actual meat of the story, and then the good ending.
And I think that correlates directly with exactly what we do. And with you running ads every day, with everyone here working on the stuff we work on, how much better does video perform than stills and everything else? And by people watching that don't understand the difference, when I say stills, we say that is something that, like, we know what we're talking about. When you run ads, you have still ads that is just a still image. You have carousel ads that it's multiple sets of images. You have collection ads, it's video and images. You have a lot of different styles of ads that are running.
Yeah.
But bar none right now, the best performing of everything is video.
It definitely is, and there's 2 sides to it. So the first side to video is what we've talked about with the engagement aspect. It's so much easier to get people to engage with video. The second side to it is on the analytical side, on the back end of Facebook, where anyone that watches a video through one of our campaigns, we collect their profile information on whatever platform they're watching on, and we can build audiences through that. So we know that person XYZ watched a video from client A for 13 seconds, okay? We have that account information. We build an audience of people who, over the last 60 to 90 days, have watched at least 3 seconds of a video from this account over any video. We've now got an audience of 100,000 people that know the brand already and that we can go back after with more video, with more still style ads, and hopefully lead to a conversion.
That comes to how funneling works
Yeah.
in marketing. And I feel like so many people, realistically, business owners and marketing agencies have lost the funnel. They've lost the basics of what you're supposed to be doing. And that's where you have brand awareness and you have conversion.
But I think a lot of that was lost last year. So-
I would say it's
End of last year.
it's been going down in the fact that everybody wants to go straight after conversion right out the gate. Everybody wants the day they start with marketing, go after conversion. You have no audiences, which at a point they could do something like that when the Facebook pixels and things like that were more effective, which what a lot of marketing salespeople don't even relay correctly. And people on the other side of the table that have been using companies for years, and they're like, well, their stuff's really kind of fallen off since September of last year. So iPhone comes out with iOS 14 plus. There's more and more versions of it. But that comes out being the first version that gives people the option if they want to be tracked or not.
Mm-hmm.
So we are tracking people based on them clicking through, and we acquire this audience through the back end of a website, everything like that when we're marketing.
And just to kind of clarify real quick, what Dane's talking about is anyone that clicked from a Facebook ad or any type of ad to that company's website, we were able to capture their IP address to retarget them, and it was a much more efficient way of doing it.
Yes, it was very efficient when it worked.
Yeah.
And when I stepped in the marketing space, that's how we did it. And it worked. But iPhone users make up 90% of the general public. So now all of a sudden, 90% of the population is allowed to opt out of tracking. That's why people don't see a ton of ads popping up on their screens day over day now. It's a lot more organic viewing of your friends, your family, things like that. And now, at that point, we had to take a step back and say, hey, how are we going to acquire these audiences that we had before? And video has become that spot, because if we have somebody watch that video, we don't need them to click through anywhere. Yeah. We can now track them through Facebook's AI system, and we're 100 steps ahead of the company sitting next to us with no video run. And they're shooting in the dark still. They're trying to target less than 10% of the population that's clicking through off the same Facebook pixels, off the same things they've always done, and their companies are going, and they don't know what to do, and they're not adapting, they're not figuring out what they should be doing. And I think that on just the Facebook side alone into Instagram has become such a vital tool to us.
And it's great top funnel too, because that's what it is, video. And the reason for that is the cost per view is so low across these platforms as well. There's 8 billion video views on Facebook per day or month.
I think it was a day.
I think it was daily. 8 billion.
It was a number
views.
that is just like astronomically
like you
high.
can't even comprehend. More than the people on the earth.
Yeah.
But upon that, we're averaging like less than a cent per view on all of our video.
How long would you say that lasts? If you're running a video, and when does that video die off? And when should you have new content?
I would say it depends on the style of video.
And it depends on the demographic. Because if you're running a video in a town of 10,000 people, well, once 10,000 people see the video, they're just going to see it again. If you're running it in New York, it's millions. So it depends on where you're at.
Yeah, it depends on how much money is coming behind it.
Yeah.
To how fast you can saturate an area. So we have a lot of business owners come to us. We do video, and they want to own Kansas City. Realistically, their budget's not big enough to own Kansas City. There's too many people. It takes too long to try to own Kansas City. The other thing that comes with those audiences that we build is they're not there forever. So those are only running on 60-day turn cycles.
Yep.
I think a video optimizes out about 90 days at most. So that's where we're big on refreshing video for all of our accounts on everything that we do, because when you're applying new video, we can watch how that video tracks, that right out the gate goes straight up. And you're trending that same line for 60 days. 60 days, that line's still trending upward, but at that 90, it kind of flattens out. Now, if we're in a bigger metropolitan area than Kansas City, it might be able to go a little bit longer. But all the companies we have that we work with, most of the time at that level, your frequency is starting to get too high. So the frequency is the number of times somebody's seeing that video. And when you start stacking the same video on top of people, they stop watching it. If I see a video I've seen last week, I've already watched the video, I'm not watching it again. So now we just paid to put a video in front of somebody again they've already watched that they didn't watch this time.
There's so much strategy that goes into this too, because once a video gets to that point, you've already missed the boat if you haven't followed it up with still style ads, if you haven't followed it up with retargeting ads. You know, it's not just running video for 60 to 90 days and then it stalling out and then making another video and running it. It's making that first video, allowing it to run for 30 to 60 days to capture those eyeballs for the retargeting audiences, and then following that up with still style ads, with carousel style ads, with organic post, getting them to like your page. That's what leads to conversions.
Okay, so I'm just trying to be devil's advocate. So what type of video would you be looking at for something like that?
So that's where a lot of people also have a misconception that I like where we sit, being able to handle all of it. We have a lot of people reach out to us to do one-off videos. Not a huge fan of doing them due to the fact of people not understanding what to do with the video afterwards. We could go put a $50,000 video together for someone, make the best video they've ever seen in their life, but if they have no earthly idea what to do with it, and somebody may have all the money in the world to have that produced, and they have 15 Facebook followers, and they just post on their page and nothing happens with it, like, well, that video didn't work. And the timing of the video is everything, because you have ad style video, then you have longer video that is more built for website. Further down funnel, I would say that's middle funnel of conversion.
So you have an ad style video and then a further down funnel of a different video?
No, so
website viewers is where I would say
Yeah.
he was going with that further.
I would
down
have
funnel.
like website viewers in the middle that we have the brand awareness. That's like a 30, 45 second video at most.
Yeah.
That's getting the logo out there. That's getting whatever it is. Make it really enticing. Yeah. Make it something that people want to see.
21 to 30 seconds is usually best. Yeah. After 30 to 40 is still good. After you get over that 40 seconds, you start to, it's not as good.
But now I'm interested in the product or the service, whatever it is that we are marketing. Start off with this video. We push someone down funnel. Now they click through to website. They end up on the website. They're more intrigued now.
They're starting to buy in.
Yeah, they're buying in now. They may need a little bit more information to purchase. That's where you can have a minute and a half, 2 minute video
on your website.
Even someone speaking about the product or about the service.
But that person's way further down that funnel than the first person that's seen the video, because they have no earthly idea who this is probably when they originally see it.
So you're saying the 30-second video leads to the website, then from there they can have that informative video, and then where's it go from there? Is that to sale, or is that where, say if they back off, how am I going to try to reclaim that individual?
It depends on what your product is. I mean, it's a lot harder to sell $1,500, concrete job or like one of these services that we market for than it is to sell a $5 item online. The time to purchase there is just a lot more for those larger ticket items. I don't think there's one perfect answer for that. I think that in some cases, yes, that website conversion is going to lead directly to sell. And then I think in other cases, you're going to have those people who, close out of it, think about it. But that's where it's important for them to still be seeing your stuff across social media, for your ads to still be popping up in front of them and staying fresh with fresh content month over month.
So you can freshly tailor that to an individual. Okay.
Ricky, what do you think on all the different styles of videos? What would you, I know I kind of made it simple of like ad style and website. What would you say all the different styles of video are?
I mean, there's a lot. So first thing to look at is like whether it's portrait or landscape. A lot of filmmakers and a lot of people that are making content for a while probably don't necessarily like portrait.
True.
But you have to play the game that's being played. So that's why we move a lot of stuff to portrait as opposed to just landscape. And usually the best way to do that is you'd run 2 cameras. You could record on a $10,000 camera in 8K and crop it down from there, but you're going to have a lot of money into equipment to do that. So sometimes you just have to do 2 different shoots or that type of thing. But then you have videos that kind of tell more of a story of brand awareness, or you could have videos that are have more of a hard call to action, whether they're for an event. We did the More Expo. That's like more of a recap video.
Yep.
And that's a little bit of like a long-term brand awareness. So there's really different videos you can do for almost anything you want to do with your business.
Yeah, and I think a lot of video too is you're playing a short-term game, but you're playing a long-term game also. And I think when people commit to video, I'd say all the business owners we work with are committed to growth of their businesses year over year. To where when you commit to video, you commit to that bigger step. They're playing the long game, and they're seeing the results as they go. And I think I also just think that's running funnel correctly that I think a lot of people lose track of. And it also goes a lot into if businesses we work with are a B2B business or a B2C business. So business to business is B2B, business to consumer is B2C. So those marketing strategies don't look the same. The marketing strategy, the target audience, the whole strategy is completely different. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of lose track in, and that's where when I looked at the marketing space as a whole, I felt like everyone was so cookie cutter that everyone did every single business and everything of that nature the same.
Yeah.
And when I viewed it, that I think they're all so different.
What was it on, we were doing some LinkedIn learning the other day. Dane was asking us questions about B2B sales or marketing. What was the average input or average number of people who have input on a B2B decision? I think it was like 6.8.
6.8,
Yeah.
I thought that number was pretty high.
Almost 7 people are giving their input on a decision from a business perspective when they're purchasing something.
That's a lot of people.
Yes.
And if you're a consumer, it's about 1, maybe 1.5.
Yeah, so you can make a decision by yourself on something. As a business, people are pulling in a lot more heads to make that decision. So the decision becomes a lot harder to make. And I always call them like irons in the fire. There's a lot more of them there.
There's a lot more people to convince.
Yeah. And you may have one of those 6.8 people that doesn't believe in what you're doing, and the rest of them do. And you could get a no from someone just because of that one person. And that's where I think the video is so big on the brand awareness side too, that if we go into speak with a business, once again, there's a lot of irons in the fire that have a say in that decision. Now, if you've seen a video on us, you've seen a video on us, you've seen a video on us, you've been retargeted with stills, you've been retargeted with stills, you've been retargeted with stills. Now, all of a sudden, you look back at it and you're like, well, I know who these guys are. You've never spoke with us, but you know who we are. And that should be that way for every business out there that have that brand awareness, that when you speak to somebody, they know who you are. They know your logo. They know that brand.
It gives you a lot more credibility.
It does. You can definitely build a brand without video. It's extremely hard, though. It's going to take you a lot longer. It's going to cost you a lot more. If you're running video, you're going to get there quicker, and it shows that you actually want to build a brand.
Well,
Yeah.
We were discussing just on this. It's a nationwide company just the other day. I was trying to figure out how their ads worked because they put out video ads, and I only see them Monday. It's a food company, but it's the type of food they're doing for that week. And I've sit there and I see their ads. I only see them on Monday. I've sit there. I'm like, is their budget solely spent on Monday, pushing it out to their entire reach, so everyone knows what it is for that week, and then they only spend money on Mondays?
I'm not going to say a name, but I'm assuming it's the cookie place.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
They just have a very
exactly
good
the cookie.
product
Yeah.
too.
But I'm assuming just their I'm just assuming their Monday spend is crazy. But you watch that video every single week, their retarget spend probably is not that much.
And they've almost done something genius there, because at a certain point they're going to be able to move that over to organic, because people like Dre and all of us who know who that is are going to be able to know on Mondays to go look for what type of cookies they can buy that week.
They are doing
I get
that.
served that ad. I don't even have to look. It pops up every
Yeah.
Monday at some point, and I'm just like,
They're retargeting
I watch the
you
full
with
video every time.
They've got you, bud.
But because you watch that now every Monday, they can spend out the gate. They spent probably, I would say, 50 times more, 100 times more to acquire that audience. And now what they have done is now they have this retargeting audience that they get to spend a lot less money on for conversions, because they serve you on Monday, and then during that week, like, we made it 2 days before we got them. So it was supposed to be till Thursday.
The other thing that company does though is it's not Joey the front sales guy rocking his iPhone 11 filming a cookie. It's really high level content, and that is completely different, because if that video wasn't good, you wouldn't watch it.
You wouldn't watch the next one. You wouldn't watch any of them to come.
Yeah.
And that's the
It
other
makes
thing
me
that
hungry when I watch it.
this is something that I do have a disagreement with a lot of people on, that they're just like, throw everything out there, see what sticks. Just keep throwing it out there, which in a way kind of works, but it's also like your content level is what kind of sets the tone for your business. If we throw out the worst video you've ever seen and then come in and ask for top dollar, they'd be like, these dudes are jokes, like right out the gate.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
Now,
do that.
The cookie place sells the most expensive cookies out of anywhere I've been, but their content and everything deems their price.
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing. If you're trying to ask for, $3,000 purchases or these high dollar ticket items, then obviously your content's got to be right. If you're some, 12-year-old kid wanting to record TikTok videos, and, screw it, go ahead, post everything.
So that's where I think that the content quality is huge.
It is.
And I think that sets a tone for conversions, because you can get the audience both ways, but you're wanting to drive people to actually purchase.
And even if it's not on the paid side, you need to have that high level content to break through the noise of all the other content that's not good. Because the thing is, like we were saying earlier with Vine and TikTok and everything, everybody's a content creator now.
Oh, everyone.
So everybody's posting video because video is what the marketplace wants.
You can overdo it from an organic perspective too, because I know if I find a page that's engaging, I'll follow it. And then, say 2 weeks later, if I keep seeing their stuff every day and I don't really want to see
Like
it, or it's
5
just
times a
annoying me,
day?
then I'm going to unfollow them.
Which I think that is, from the first hand in the car business, that is so true with dealers that use Ford Direct. Like, calling it blunt, what it is, dealers use this upper level corporate marketing deal that they can use for social.
What does that look like for people who don't know what that is?
So the corporate level of Ford offers Ford Direct marketing. So they can pretty much pay Ford to handle their marketing. How many Ford stores are in Kansas City?
A lot.
More than I can.
Exactly. And now all of a sudden you all go pay for the exact same thing. So now every single Ford store is posting the exact same thing every day.
Yep.
And they way overdo it. There's way too many posts. They're as unpersonable as they come. They're just posting different random stories of something that nobody wants to see. So it hurts these stores, and GM does it too. They have the same kind of deal. Like, all the manufacturers have it.
Nothing against Ford at all.
No, that's just
something
one of them.
that
Like, they all have
it's
it.
just been probably the
That's
most one that in the forefront of watching it, that we've also been on the side of
you're familiar with it.
seeing it, and it's not anything that's overly enticing that people want to see.
Well, and that's it might be okay from an overall brand perspective as far as Ford goes.
Exactly.
Like, they're getting eyeballs, but it does nothing for the individual dealership,
Yeah, and
the ones that are actually paying for it.
so they're paying for this. That is just helping Ford's brand.
Yeah.
but it does nothing to help that individual dealer. And going to content as being noise, I always have the same analogy that I use, that everything makes noise. A trash truck makes noise, and a country singer makes noise, one of which gets paid for people to listen to, one of which nobody wants to listen to. But social media is the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That all content out there is noise, one of which people want to view and see, one of which people do not want to see. And it goes right back to the people that are overdoing it, putting too much out there, things like that. You're like, yep, unfollow. I don't want to see that all the time. And I even see it with people that just share like the most random stuff. Like people I know. I'm like, dude, like, stop sharing every single thing that you see that you think is funny. Like,
There's a like button and there's a share button.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think people get those mixed up.
Yeah, sometimes like I share stuff that's like business related, things like that. Same thing with like Madison's stuff. But besides that, I try not to like share a large amount of things that are irrelevant.
I could not tell you the last time I made a post. Everything I post is
Today you changed your cover photo. I saw that.
Hey,
I feel like that
I did
counts.
change it.
He didn't
There
tag
was
me.
only 3 of us in there, so now there's 7, so it's finally changed.
Link down below. Add Dre as a friend on Facebook.
Yeah, his count's low.
Dre loves
Need to
new
get those
friends.
numbers up. No, but now I lost my train of thought. I don't even know where I was going with that.
We're going with something
I
about
think-
not making any posts.
That you share
Oh,
some
not
stuff.
going any posts. Like I post the stuff that is relevant to what we do, but it's very broad. Whether it's landscaping, flowers, food. So there's a wide variety. It's nothing that where it's just like same thing over, and then it's like, well, that became redundant. No one really knows what I'm going to post each day.
Yeah, so you're saying you have a very confused friends list.
Every single one is
We probably all
confused.
do, but
Yeah.
I think they're used to it by now.
Yeah.
So what's your advice to the small business owner or entrepreneur that's listening to this that hasn't run any video or that doesn't know where to start with that, whether it's, we're talking about portrait, landscape, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. What's your advice to them?
And what if they only have Facebook?
I think a lot of it is when I started this whole thing, we have seen a huge amount of growth in such a short period of time. And luckily, we are on the forefront of having all this influx of video from all these accounts we work with. So we do have a luxury that most people don't. But I would tell people to really take a step back and identify a brand. What do you want your company to look like? Don't overthink that, but have something that is a target. That I have always had this vision in my head, and I mean, I couldn't put it on paper if you asked me to, but I have a vision in my head of what Moss Marketing Group looks like. And there's certain things that we'll go out and do photos and stuff, and I'm like, it just doesn't fit the brand of who we are. Like, our photos without us smiling have turned into a thing.
Yeah.
People all ask us about it, but it's something that is a brand specific deal that we do.
It also cuts through that noise a little bit.
And it's something that they know when they see a post from us, it's going to be on brand. It's going to be online with what we do.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think I would rather have 1,000 organic people that really know the brand of who we are than 100,000 that have no earthly idea what's going on here.
Yeah, I think identifying your brand is definitely going to help you identify your ideal customer too, what that avatar looks like. So identify the brand, and then for me, once you know who your ideal customer is, that there will tell you where to first go with advertising and what lanes to pick.
With that brand, I think you can then make that move into the content space.
Yep.
If you don't know the brand, you can't even start in the content side. And we've ran into it with companies that we go out and we work on content of what we think would look right. They're like, hey, whoa, that's not like what I'm thinking. I'm like, I can't come up with every single brand of every business we work with. That's not what we do. We help them identify that brand when we work with them. We help them identify who that perfect target customer is, who we need to be going after, what geographical areas we need to be going after, everything of that nature. But that's also what we do to drive someone down funnel. You have to know every single one of those things. So I think that business owner first needs to be present on every single social platform. I think that is step one. Identify your brand and be present on every platform.
That's like the bare minimum.
Using it or not. If you search us, on Google, we own the whole entire first page because we have LinkedIn, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter now. We have every single thing you can think of, some sort of platform on there. We have YouTube. And with those, it helps SEO-wise. It helps organically build you SEO-wise. Instead of paying some company that doesn't do a whole lot, that you're like, hey, I see no results on this, blah, blah, blah. You can use Google. You can have a Google My Business. Do what you're supposed to do as a company digitally. Then start on that content side. Put out one great piece of content each week.
And use your customer to figure out where to go with that. Do a little research. You can do a simple Google search of, what age demographic is best on, Facebook, TikTok, all this stuff. The example I'll use is a chiropractor. So if you think about a chiropractor, most people, maybe excluding us who go to the chiropractor, are typically a little bit older. You're not going to see ads for a chiropractor on TikTok. It just doesn't make sense. The average age is too young. But if you're a chiropractor, you're definitely going to want to be running ads on Facebook. You're definitely going to be running Google ads because people are going to go to Google who are a little bit older looking for a chiropractor.
This too, though, I think when people get to where they own a space, I think you can acquire new business via other avenues.
Oh, definitely. That's just a good place to start.
It's something that chiropractors are now trying to target a younger demographic. They're going after, if you've noticed in the last few years, there's some chiropractors we went to school with that are in Kearney, and they're targeting babies and toddlers and stuff. I don't really know a whole lot on that, so I'm not even going to go in on that.
So the odd thing about chiropractors specifically is their content performs exceptionally well because there's something so satisfying about almost the ASMR of hearing everything pop.
ASMR, yeah.
That's a really big thing right now. So if you're a chiropractor and you're not doing video, you're really missing out.
You can take it to any single business model. Tell me a business model that video doesn't work for.
Transport.
Like logistics?
Yeah, transport logistics.
Like trucking?
Yeah.
Like B2B or what are we selling?
Just trucking. How would you make that work?
Trucking's a pretty broad term.
I don't know how narrowed down. I give you a broad term.
You just gave me I think truck. Dalton, we need to know what amount of U.S. business is made up of trucking. Yeah.
So one of the
that number is really, really high.
One of the biggest things that I see that a trucking company or logistics company would benefit from video is actually on the hiring side. So there's a lot of trucking companies out there, and that's kind of a market right now where they're probably struggling to find drivers, especially with, I think the CDL thing changed a few years ago. But from a brand awareness as far as working inside the company would go, that's a way that you could use video in the trucking space, showing how it's different for working for company A as opposed to company B, that type of thing.
Okay.
And then that helps.
I was just trying to throw the hardest one out there.
I know.
Was thinking of.
Yeah.
That was a good one, though.
Yeah.
That's a very, very large space in its own. I feel like you have some truck builders out there that is a built audience that they may specially make electrical boom trucks. So there's a company I can't see that they make boom trucks. Who is their client? Not somebody that works at Walmart, not somebody that works at Target. They are targeting union electricians, most likely, and linemen. So that is an audience that's built out that no person should ever see an ad of those trucks if they are not in one of those professions.
Because I always do see on the trucks, I would say 80% of the trucks I pass always say hiring with a little QR code.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I could see how the building of how their company fit would be for them in a video. I think that'd be huge.
Yeah, it would set them apart from because every company does that. On the back of the truck, it says, oh, these are the benefits. It lists 2 or 3 things. Come join us.
Yep, hiring, pay, and here's a phone number to call if I'm driving bad.
Yeah, those are 2 things. But call this one if you want to work for us.
Exactly.
That kind of comes full circle back into how many accounts do we have that we work on hiring for?
Quite a few.
A lot.
Yeah.
And
especially right now.
We have had so many accounts that we have acquired due to the fact that they couldn't grow because of the acquisition of new employees. that we have fixed that problem for, and that's why they pay us for marketing now.
Yeah, and there's just different problems. There's different bottlenecks for each business. So, and it changes throughout the business too. Like at one point it could be you don't have enough leads. Well, we fixed that with video, and now you have a bunch of leads, but now you can't service all those leads because you don't have enough employees. Well, we can do that too. So you just start to circle through and you keep eliminating those bottlenecks.
So the trucking industry is a $700 billion industry annually in the U.S.
Conquering over 5% of all market. Yeah,
That's a
And
lot.
they're hiring every day.
Elon could have bought Twitter a lot
multiple
of times with that.
at least like 14 times.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, the video and the hiring space works. I think it really works across really whatever you're wanting to do of what your goal is in business at that time. And a lot of business owners don't view, as long as you're always acquiring new business, at least I have found this as being a business owner, as long as we're always acquiring new business, we don't seem to have a lot of issues that other people have. I think the second people kind of get fearful and they kind of pull back and they're like, hey, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this. Like, I think things just all kind of start crumbling down around them, and they don't really realize it till everything's too late.
But I also think a lot of companies look at an individual as a number, not as a person. So they'll sit there and they look at that individual going, that individual is going to cost me X amount this month.
Good job, number 2.
That's what I do. I'm a number. No, but they look at them as numbers, and they're not like, what can that individual do for me this month? How can that individual make this company more money? And they don't look at them like that. They're just like, I have to pay that person at the end of the month.
Yeah, and that's goes right back to the acquisition of business all the time. That's how growth works. And I don't know what it looks like for a company that has 250 employees. I'm assuming the model it should scale the same, I would assume.
I would think so.
I might be totally wrong, but who knows? We'll figure that out when we get there. But as that's scaling up, if you're acquiring new business, if you're acquiring leads, if you're acquiring all these things, I feel like business just becomes easier. I feel like the second you kind of take your foot off that, like, I know a business right now that they have acquired so much business that they're going to try to do their own thing, and then it's going to fall.
If it hasn't already fallen.
But it's one of those things that we're going to watch it happen. And it's not something that, when you have every single thing working right, be thankful that you have every single thing working right. Keep rolling the train forward. I think so many people want to try to reinvent the wheel. That would also be probably in the top 3 things I would tell business owners. Like, if you have things pointing north, keep rolling.
Keep doing it.
Keep doing whatever you're doing that's pointing north. Don't reinvent the wheel at that point.
Yeah. And one of the things on the video side is, especially when companies are trying to grow, sometimes business owners get caught up in the idea of they understand the importance of video. And then they're like, well, I can probably just do that myself. I'll save this little bit of money each month, something I don't have to pay. We can cut some costs. I'm going to do it myself. And that doesn't work.
No.
Because there's a pretty good chance, unless they happen to have this crazy background and they're like a videographer for 10 years, even then, there's something else.
I don't think we've ran into one yet. So.
We haven't. Even then, though, there's something else that they could be doing with their time, handling those higher level tasks, and let somebody else do the video and the marketing and stuff like that.
That's something I've learned too as our business has grown, is sometimes taking those things off your plate to do those high level tasks of running a business. The spending of money is a money well spent.
Mm-hmm.
That you can ask anybody sitting in here, anything that we can spend money on to save us time, have I ever told anybody no?
No, you were telling me earlier today, you're like, if it works, spend the money on it. I was like, well, we're going to try
I
it.
don't care like what it is on like spending of the money to grow, to acquire our time back, because that's the most valuable thing we have. And everybody has been hand selected to be part of this because there's a value with the time that you have. If there's anything that we can take off of our plate, things like that, to make things move smoother, make our product better, to bring a better experience to the businesses that we work with, I'm fine with spending the money. That's what growing a business looks like. And I think on the video side, you're right. There's a lot of people like, well, I know my cousin's second niece, blah, 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 has a new iPhone 13 and they're going to film our video. I'm like, all right, cool. And
She's got like 10,000 Instagram followers. I think she's pretty good at content.
Yeah. And she was like, and they said they'll do it for like $150.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. Let them have it. Like, but then they 3 months passed, they call us again. They're like, well, that video didn't really work.
Yeah.
Once again, you had no earthly idea what to do with it. You had no idea how your funnel works. You had no idea who your ideal target customer was. You didn't do anything with that video for it to work. You did nothing to acquire it. So realistically, we probably should have just went to the casino with the 150 that you were going to give to her, throwing it on red, see what happens. Maybe you could walk out with twice as much money and then just call it a day.
Well, even if they know all the steps to do with the video, but they don't put the correct video out, then you put a bad taste in a lot of individuals' mouth going, well, that's not quality stuff.
Yeah.
And then you immediately dismiss how many individuals within a month period.
And that's a good way to ruin a brand with it too. That I don't think people look at the repercussion of, we had a business, we start with them on shipping. First month, we have all these people click through. When they get down the funnel to purchase, we weren't converting purchasing that like we wanted to see.
How are you tracking that?
At that point, you can track it via Pixel all the way through onto purchase. So we're tracking everything down, and the conversion isn't what we were wanting to see. We dive more into it. We see that the shipping cost is really high. It instantly puts in my head that there's an ice cream company that makes screwball ice cream.
It's good.
I got served an
stuff.
ad for it a couple times. The first time I clicked on it, I go to purchase, and the shipping was like $55 for ice cream.
Oof.
I have seen that ad since then, and trust me, I really want that ice cream, but I will never click on the ad because if I know how much the shipping is. They could have fixed that shipping cost, but they lost a client forever because they burned the bridge the first time. So sometimes you have to figure those things out to reestablish that kind of connection in the beginning. And a lot of people, I feel like, burn their brand very quickly with what they're trying to acquire, and then they find out the problem later. They try to fix it, but it's too late because they went after too large of a demographic and burned too many people.
That's a very hard thing to fix, because then you have to start an entire new marketing strategy on $5 shipping, and that is your entire campaign of you pushing out, is just trying to fix that bridge
10 times as much to try to counteract what you did.
Yeah, and same thing goes with the video itself. So even costs aside, if you watch a company A's video and it's really bad, you're probably just going to keep scrolling next time. You're not even going to let it play.
Yeah.
That's the cookie place.
Unless
their videos terrible. Every week when they pop up, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Unless it's just really bad, I'm like, I might watch it. It's either really good or really bad. I'm going to watch those.
You're like,
in between, I'm like, eh.
You're like, they actually posted that? Oh my God.
They did it again?
But there's a lot of companies that think that they're doing something when those are posted. And
yeah, they hear the content is king and everything like that, and they're like, oh, we need to do video, but they just stay at that surface level and they don't dive into it.
They watch half of our podcast and like, hey, we have to do video, and they didn't make it to this part.
They read the headline and they're like, okay, got it.
Got to do video. So they didn't make it to this part, and they're like, maybe I shouldn't do bad video.
Yeah.
Bad video is more of a negative.
Maybe I shouldn't do my own video.
Exactly. But
I thought that was pretty good.
I
thought that was pretty good.
I know. I feel like this was the point where you guys kind of all stared at me and just be like, hey, what are you going to say?
No, I was sitting there thinking if there's anything else on video that we didn't really touch on, but I felt like we gave a great
I feel like we covered all the platforms.
broad overview. Does anyone else have any tips they would say on video that we didn't touch base on?
I would say audio is almost just as important as video.
True. That was a huge plus that Ricky brought to the table.
So you got to have a lot of people, at least in YouTube or the content creation side.
My audio works.
They will.
Ricky, you'll fix that later, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely fix that one. They're not going to watch a video if the audio is bad. True. Especially if somebody's talking, say you're explaining your product. If the audio is bad, they're going to immediately click out.
Yeah.
If the video is not the best in the world, but the audio sounds good, they're at least probably going to stick around. Now, obviously, ideally, you have both of those, but audio goes right up there with video.
Yeah.
The hardest thing for me is when someone's lips don't match.
Oh, when
I
it's
can't do that.
drives
Yeah.
me
Can't do that.
insane. And I'll even rewatch, not the entire video, but about the first 5 seconds. I'll rewatch it about 5 times.
Just
being
make sure
like,
your iPhone's not broken.
yeah, I'm like, am I going to Apple tomorrow? Nope, it's their video.
I think I should edit this podcast and like move your audio track just like half second so your voice doesn't match the entire time.
That would be fantastic.
That was one thing.
less view of Drake.
That was one thing I was not very good at was audio, and that was something that was brought to the table when you joined. And I feel like I know worlds more about it now. I wouldn't say I'm good at it, but Ricky is. So
But the thing is,
thank you for the audio on the podcast. I wouldn't have known what to order.
well, another thing is you don't need to be good at it. Hire somebody that is good at it.
Yeah, you're
That's
you're
the
better
whole
at the
point.
content. You're better at all that than me.
That goes back to knowing your worth or what your time's worth. If you're a business owner and your job is landscaping, you're not going to be an expert on video making or marketing.
No, and I
So-
think so many business owners want to be a marketing genius or marketing guru of some sort, and they have so little time to put at it.
Yeah.
That the marketing space changes weekly.
Yeah.
We have weekly calls with Facebook. We have to go over what's changing, what's coming, what we can have our foot in front of that's about to hit us next week. To know what budgets need to be towards what, like how all those things work. If you're a successful business owner, you have no time to deal with that stuff. You'd rather pay a 7-man team to work on it to get it all done right.
Shameless.
Thank you for answering your own
In case you
question.
were wondering who that 7-man team was.
I was really questioning it there for a minute.
But yeah, I think we've touched everything on video for this. I'm looking forward to the niche down once a month podcast on a certain topic. I think next month I want to dive really deep on Facebook.
Yeah.
And Logan and I were kind of talking about that earlier on just the understanding of Facebook that could probably be like a 5-hour podcast by
Definitely
itself.
could.
We might even niche it down a little more.
Yeah, we might have to niche that down a little bit
A
more
certain
within
type
Facebook.
of-
You either go to the
But-
paid side or the organic side. I feel like those are your two.
Most people don't
let us
even-
know what on Facebook you guys want us to dive deep about.
Yeah, and if you send us messages, things like that, a lot of people have been messaging to us on different things they're wanting to see. Feel free to message out to any of us on thoughts and tips of the podcast. Also, we want to make sure we're bringing to the table what everyone's wanting to see. So I think that is the M3 podcast for today. And I can't key Ricky because he's on the couch. So key Lauren.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.